Direct your swing towards that plane. See? Aim for the table. This is what meeting the ball in front means, and it's the most critical point. I asked you to practice the rolling ball drill. Have you been practicing? During practice, are you often hitting the edge of your racket or your hand? Why do you hit your hand? Because your arm is too stiff. Your motion is a forward push, not a brush. Let me demonstrate why you're missing the ball. It's because you're trying to flip your racket face upward, so you can't make proper contact. This is the essence of your brushing problem. If you do this in the drill, you will do it in your loop. Watch, I'll demonstrate a compact, correct motion. Now, let's enlarge this motion into a full loop. The reason your stroke isn't correct is the moment of contact. Your backswing might look professional, but the moment you touch the ball, your racket path goes all over the place. You're only missing that crucial instant of contact. Today, we're going to fix that winding racket path and turn it into a direct, standard stroke. This will make your form much more perfect. Let's break down exactly how to execute this drill. First point, when practicing the brush, your racket must start below the level of the table. Your forearm should hang down, and your wrist should be dropped. This applies to shakehand grips as well. You need to wait for the ball from a position underneath it. When brushing, your racket face shouldn't be square to the table. Instead, hook your wrist slightly inward to create a feeling of wrapping around the ball. Because at the actual moment of contact, your racket is already wrapping the ball, not hitting it from directly behind. The racket angle will always be slightly close to wrap around the ball. This angle isn't extreme, but it's definitely not hitting the back of the ball squarely. You must drop your wrist. Actually, dropping the wrist isn't about forcing it down, it's a state of relaxation. If you tense up to force it, you'll ruin the spin generation at contact. So, keep it naturally relaxed and dropped. Pay close attention to my timing on the brush. During your backswing, wait for the ball. Don't rush. Widen your stance and lower your center of gravity. A common reason your loop lacks spin is because you rotate your shoulders horizontally, brushing from behind the ball instead of from underneath it. You must wait. Don't swing as soon as the ball comes over. That's how you miss, and it's a common problem in matches. Let the ball roll off the edge and start to drop, then begin your motion. Swing as the ball is dropping. The moment you see it fall, you swing. You must contact the ball at this point. In a real game, amateurs should also be looking for this contact point on the drop. If you master this timing, the rest of your stroke becomes much easier. This is how you synchronize your power with the ball. If you want to hit the ball at the top of the bounce, you must move forward and engage your body. But for hitting the ball just after its peak, you can loop from your standing position. This is ideal for amateur players. Wait for the ball to roll off and drop, then execute your brush. If you're practicing alone, you can simply roll the ball to yourself like this. Amateur players often have a decent backswing and follow through, but make too many mistakes at the critical moment of contact. The first error, why you hit your hand, is because your arm leads the motion with a forward push. In a match, you don't hit your hand because the opponent's ball has an arc. But fundamentally, your stroke is still a push. With a rolling ball that has no arc, a pushing motion will inevitably cause you to hit your hand. This means your loop is more of a push lift than a true brushed loop. The incoming arc is what allows your push, forward, up, or sideways, to work. Why do you edge the ball? At contact, your wrist should be creating the arc. Instead, your wrist is stiff and you're just colliding with the ball. A correct stroke produces a distinct brushing sound at contact. This is a true test of your brushing skill. The third problem is an incorrect racket path at contact. We need to fix this path now. Why do you miss your forehand? Because you should be meeting and brushing the ball in front of you. Instead, your hand and elbow follow an incorrect path. This path can't make contact with a rolling ball. While it might work against an arcing ball in a game, this is exactly why your loop lacks quality. These strokes might get the ball on the table, but generating any real quality is extremely difficult. So, pay attention. At contact, many players have a stroke that looks correct but is actually a scooping or pushing motion. Let me demonstrate a few proper loops. A quick note, those balls were short, so I had to step in to adjust. For a normal long ball, you don't need to step forward like that, so don't copy that footwork. Let's focus on the hand and arm mechanics. Why is my loop so powerful? It's because my contact mechanics are correct. So how do you achieve this? Stand up straight. Your arm path is back, to the side, and then up. Bring your arm back. Swing out towards your 45-degree forward side, and finish the stroke. That's your basic forehand trajectory. I'm just adding the body mechanics to this arm motion. Open your stance, lower your center of gravity, and get into a lunge position. I've only added the body rotation, the arm path is the same. So, if you open your stance, lower your body, and transfer your weight correctly, you have a perfect forehand loop. But where do amateurs go wrong in these 3 steps? When we were kids, coaches taught us, backswing is horizontal for topspin, and downward for backspin. But if you watch top players now, every backswing goes behind their body. You must change this old habit. The closer your backswing is to your body, the better you can transfer your body's power. Second, a closer backswing helps you absorb the ball's pace. If you swing too far back, a fastball will jam you. But if you don't take a backswing, you have no power. Therefore, your backswing must be close to your body, tucked behind it. This applies to all backspin balls. For topspin rallies, the pace is too fast to take a full backswing. Amateurs can't hide the racket behind their body in fast rallies like Sun Ing Sha or Ma Long Du. Their swing speed is just too fast. Against topspin, a more compact backswing close to the body with an outside-in path is sufficient. But against backspin, you must tuck the racket behind your body. For example, after a push to your forehand, tuck and loop. Never swing straight back. If you rely on a big, backward backswing now, your forehand will fail you in matches, against new opponents, or against pimples, and your level will drop significantly. Tuck the racket behind your body. The key to tucking it in is your elbow. If your elbow is out, your arm will be far from your body. You must keep your elbow close. Let me show you. See how keeping the elbow close allows me to generate power? Your backswing is relaxed, moving outward from behind your hip. The path is outward, not sideways and not upward. So, which direction should you go? You need to move towards the table. From my position, I swing towards the table. This trajectory will not be wrong. That's right, aim for the table. I don't mean the tabletop, but rather the vertical plane of the table's edge. Direct your swing towards that plane. See? Aim for the table. This is what meeting the ball in front means, and it's the most critical point. But what players do is, upon contact, they either push forward with the arm or immediately lift upward. They don't have that aim for the table phase. How should you do it? Watch this. I'm just stopping the motion before the full follow-through. See how I'm driving towards the table? When you connect the full motion, you drive your swing towards the table in front of you. Direct your power forward, not upward and not sideways by pushing your hand. Your racket needs to find the table. Your racket finds the position of the table. This point is extremely important. It directly affects your action at contact. Third point, timing. Contact should not happen as you are snapping your forearm and driving forward. Regarding the brush, as I said, it requires short, explosive power, a snap. Compare a compact, snappy brush with a long follow-through one. The first one will always generate more spin. So your brush must have a braking motion, it must be compact. If you want to have a power loop with heavy topspin, you have to do it exactly as I say. Against this kind of heavy backspin, we all want to generate a high-quality attack. If my brush isn't good enough, the ball will go straight into the net. So how can I both secure the ball with enough brush and also hit it with power to produce a quality shot in a match? You must perfect the brushing part of the stroke. Once you've mastered the brush, the rest of the stroke is just like looping a topspin ball. So, step 1 is get in position and tuck the racket. Step 2 is the brush. You won't make contact way out to your side, contact happens closer in. After contact, remember, the brush must be short and concentrated. Look at that brush. The ball has incredible spin. Look everyone, that is the brush. Don't brush through the entire swing. If you do that, the ball won't have enough spin, making it very easy for your opponent to block and removing any threat from your attack. Therefore, your brushing action must stop abruptly. Watch how I stop the motion. I stop it right here. What is the rest of the motion for? It's for driving forward and accelerating your arm to generate shot quality. See? This way, the shot is both concentrated and has heavy spin, making it hard to block. Even if you don't generate massive power, the spin alone makes it difficult for the opponent. If they try to block it hard, they'll likely hit it off the table. You already have your first layer of safety. If you add power on top of that, it's even better. But even if you can't, the spin is enough. So, in the second phase, as we drive forward at that 45-degree angle, the main job is to brush the ball. How do you brush? Drive forward into the ball at contact, using a snappy wrist action. The brushing motion must be short. Use your fingers to activate your wrist and forearm to wrap the ball. Third phase, once you've brushed the ball, you have successfully converted the backspin into topspin. From this point on, you no longer need to lift up or swing sideways. Many players actually get the first two phases right. They successfully lift the ball. But they make a mistake because of an incorrect follow-through. Why did you make an error? It's because just as you generated the arc, you killed it with a follow-through that was too flat or downward. You cannot generate power by swinging sideways, you won't get any force into the ball. You can use resistance bands to increase your arm's acceleration speed. As soon as your arm speed improves, your shot will have more power. You must remember this third phase, it's the forward drive after you've brushed the ball. Once I've brushed it to this point, it's now effectively a topspin ball. After the brush, you must drive forward into the ball. Let me demonstrate the complete, connected motion. That shot is powerful. This is the reason why it has both heavy brush and forward drive. You need to have conviction in your loop. I feel that amateur players are often too hesitant. If you're hesitant, then focus on mastering the brush first. Make it solid. You need to train until you can confidently brush up any amount of backspin. Once you have that confidence, you can treat the rest of the stroke as a normal topspin loop. Don't make the mistake of thinking that after brushing, you still need to swing sideways or lift up. Often, the first part of your stroke is perfect, but you ruin it by continuing to treat the ball as backspin, lifting it for the entire duration of the swing. This results in a loop that has no threat and no forward penetration. Normally, against any chopped ball, even a high one, the initial part of my stroke will involve a brush. The moment I feel that I have grabbed the ball with my brush, I will execute the rest of the stroke like a topspin loop. That's how I can make the loop both consistent and powerful. The problem with amateurs is you're at one of two extremes, either you keep lifting the ball through the whole shot, or you feel your loop isn't a winner so you just hit it flat. You have not learned to combine brushing with hitting, nor how to integrate a high-arcing loop with a forward-driving one. Practice the three-step trajectory I mentioned. Back, to the side, and up. Get set, execute back, side, up, and connect the motion smoothly. That's how the loop is produced. Watch from this position, I go back, then to the side and up. Widen your stance, engage your body, back, side, up. Connect it all and accelerate. It's like a salute. My motion is just a salute with a larger, more circular arc. Correct, it's just a saluting motion. A player once asked if the arm needs to be firm because it felt wobbly. I described it as being like a salute. When you salute, your motion is very stable and firm. So, at the moment you loop the ball, you really do need to have that firm structure in your arm. If you can stabilize your arm at contact, you will discover a whole new level. Here's some homework for you. You need to build a solid foundation in your brushing skill. How do you practice it? Slide the ball off your free hand and use your racket hand to brush it. Be careful not to hit your hand or the racket edge. If you do, it's a sign that your racket path is wrong. Try a few. If you can't brush it cleanly, record yourself with your phone and analyze your own technique. It must be a rolling ball. Absolutely do not practice by bouncing the ball off a racket. Once the ball bounces, it has an arc, which introduces a margin for error. With an arc, you can get the ball over with all kinds of incorrect motions, pushing, lifting, slapping. That's why you must practice with a ball that has no arc, only a rolling ball. Only then will your faulty movements be exposed, allowing you to identify and fix your problems.